Okay, so yeah, so today basically we will discuss about SOAP web services.
Okay.
Okay, so yesterday we so we are learning about REST. So today we will concentrate about only SOAP. Okay,
Okay.
so the main difference between SOAP and REST is nothing but so SOAP is working as a SOAP protocol. So it is working based on its own protocol called SOAP. Okay, it is basically we will call it as a simple object access protocol. Okay, so it is having its own security model, data transfer model, everything. Okay, it won't use any other protocols for sending or receiving the data. Okay, that is the first thing. Okay, so in case of REST, so as we discussed, so it is using a HTTP, correct? So existing HTTP protocol, it is using it up. Okay, that's the main difference. Okay, and second difference is nothing but, so in order to implement a SOAP, so we need to write a number of codes. Okay, either it is a client side or it is a server side. Okay, so that is another thing. So and third thing is nothing but, in case of SOAP, hello, TP existing protocol. So that is the another main difference. Okay. So and third thing is nothing but, in case of like REST, so basically we are going to transfer a data as either JSON or XML, right?
Yeah.
In the case of SOAP, so basically we are using only XML data transfer. Okay, and also the another thing is nothing but, data is transfer as XML, but and it is going to receiving at the client side or server side as an object. So that's why we are saying as a simple object access protocol. Okay, so internally data is transferring from one machine to another machine as a XML. Once it is received at the client side or at the server side as a part of object. Okay, clear? So transferring it will go as XML, but receiving and it will go and receive as a object. So that's why we will call it as a simple object access protocol. Okay, clear? Any question?
No, sir. It's good.
Okay, so whenever we are going for a SOAP is nothing but, so in the case of, if you want to transfer a huge set of data, so especially SOAP it won't REST it won't support to sending a huge set of data. Okay, for especially for a bulk data. Okay, so in that scenario, so basically we are going for a SOAP web services. Okay, since it is a XML data transfer, so it will support a number of data. So we are going for a SOAP web service. Clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll start with a simple program, like how to write a expose a Apex class as a SOAP web service. Okay, so in order to expose a class as a SOAP web service, the main thing is that the class should be global. Okay, the class should be a global class. Okay, and second thing is nothing but, the method should be start with a web service.
So, sir,
Okay,
are you sharing your screen?
yeah,
It's still on Eclipse window.
I think you are having some network problem, I guess. Can you see it now?
Just a second. Yeah, I can see now.
Okay, just refresh your screen. I think you got stuck with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so in order to make a class as a SOAP web service, the main thing is that one class should be a global class. Okay, the main thing is a class should be a global class, as like yesterday how we wrote a REST API.
Okay.
Okay, so another thing is nothing but, the method should be a web service method. Okay, method should start with a keyword called web service static. Okay, so this is a return type of the method, and this is some method name. Okay, so this method will accept a parameter, it accepts a single parameter called name. Okay, and what it will return, so it will return back some string. Okay, so this is nothing but a simple SOAP web service. Okay, clear?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so now web service is there. So now how to call this particular web service from other side? correct? There will be
Yeah.
basically two side. One is called as a client side and another one is called a server side. Okay, client side is nothing but one who are calling that particular service is nothing but a client. Okay, so one who is doing some operation and sending back the data, it is basically we'll call it as a server side. Okay, so
Okay.
now this is actually a server side. Okay,
Okay.
just hold on, I'm getting on call.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Hello. Hello. Hey Shekhar, you with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is clear, right? How to expose a class as a simple SOAP web service. Okay.
Yeah.
So so now the thing is nothing but how to call it this particular from the server, client side, correct? Okay, so in order to how we are accessing this, so basically the REST web service we are accessing by a URI based, right? So some URI we are giving it up, based on URI basically we are going to access it, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, in case of SOAP web service there is a something called WSDL. Okay, WSDL is nothing but a web service description language. Okay, web service description language. So whoever they want to call that particular service from the client side, make sure they has to import their WSDL and they has to write some client side code.
Okay.
Okay, so now for our testing purpose, so we are not writing any code, so we will go and use a SOAP API. Okay, SOAP UI tool. Okay, this is actually SOAP UI tool. Okay, so we can go and test the functionality in the SOAP UI. Okay, calling the server side functionality. Clear?
Yeah.
Is it clear or any confusion or question?
No question. No so far.
Okay, fine. So now, so we don't have WSDL, right? So go to classes. Okay, so go to classes. Okay, so go to classes. Okay, so if you see here, there is something called WSDL is there, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, click on that WSDL. Okay, so it will generate a WSDL. Okay, then just right click or save it off. Okay, save it off and save the data. It has been saved, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we can do, so now we have to go and create a project in a SOAP UI. Okay, just install a SOAP UI. So if you go, this is a free tool actually, go to online and install a SOAP UI. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to create a new project in SOAP UI. Let's say new SOAP UI project. Okay, just browse that particular thing. Okay, give some name. Okay, so some name and browse that WSDL. Okay, and click on OK.
Okay.
Okay, so it will create this kind of project. Okay, clear?
Yeah.
It is going to create this kind of project. Okay, if you open this particular thing, so it is showing a method name. So you can write a multiple methods in correct. So we can write a multiple methods. Methods are nothing but basically services. Okay, that many number of services it will be available here. Now currently we have only one method called hello method, so it is showing the hello. Okay, if you click on here, there is something called request will be there. Okay, there is something called request. This will be a request. Okay, clear? So if you something see here, so here you can able to see the request thing here, correct?
Okay.
Okay, so what and all parameter it is accepting as a part of request? It is accepting only name,
Okay.
correct? So if you come and see here, there is a two different type. Okay, one is nothing but a SOAP header and another thing is nothing but a SOAP body, right? So everything is inside of the envelope, correct? So header and like body, so which is inside the envelope.
Okay.
Okay, header and body inside the envelope. So as a part of authentication, so basically we have to pass something called session header. Okay, so as a part of authentication, basically we have to pass something called session ID. Okay, we have to pass a session ID. We will discuss how to get the session ID. Okay,
Okay.
give me a minute. There's a lot
Yeah.
of calls here. Yeah, so now this is clear, right? So how to create a body, because there is we are using only one parameter, so that is the reason it is coming as a only one name tag.
Okay.
Okay, this is a method, this is a method name, right? Hello is a method name. Name is nothing but a, see here, parameter name, correct? Okay, so now how to get the session ID? Okay, now how to get the session ID? So if you go and if you see here, there is a something called enterprise WSDL and partner WSDL, right? I don't know whether you heard or not. So there is a something called enterprise WSDL and partner WSDL. Okay, so if you go to API, develop and API, okay, so if you click on API, so basically it is showing these many WSDL, enterprise WSDL, partner WSDL, Apex WSDL, metadata WSDL, tooling so on, so on. Okay, so just go and download the enterprise WSDL. Okay, generate a enterprise WSDL. Okay, so enterprise WSDL is having all the necessary metadata of the your org. Okay, all methods you are having. So if you go and see here, it is having the login method. Okay, there is a something called login method will be there in this particular WSDL. Okay, see here, operation, there is something called login will be there. Okay, so we need a login, we know, right? So last time, so how you got the access token? Access token we got in the REST API by calling the auth to endpoint, right? Correct. In case of SOAP, basically we have to pass a session ID instead of passing access token. Okay, what we have to do now, same thing, we have to create that. Once you download that enterprise WSDL, go here and create a new project and browse that particular enterprise WSDL here. Okay, click on OK. Okay, in that case, so it is going to create this kind of project again. Okay, it is going to create this kind of project here. Okay, so now what you do, so go and check for the login method. This is a login method, right? This is a login method. Click on this particular request. It is accepting username and password. Okay, put your username, put your password, comma security token and request. How to send a request is nothing but here on green button is there. Okay, so just click on request. So if it is a valid username and password, basically it is sending back the all the information about that particular user, like username, password, all those particular things along with the session ID. Take this session ID. Okay, clear? Take this session ID. Okay, so use this particular session ID in our particular custom web service. See here, put that session ID here. Okay, clear? Okay, now go and send a request this particular web services. It's need some timeout. See here, hello Chandu. So we are passing this particular name. If you go to our controller, the return type is nothing but hello plus the parameter we are sending it from the caller, right? And D. See here, that is the response we are getting it up. Okay, is that clear?
Clear.
Okay, so this is how we are testing our SOAP web services, correct? See, we have to test it, right? So once you return the web services, we don't know whether it is working or not, correct? So for testing that, basically we are using a SOAP UI tool in order to test the functionality. Okay,
Only for testing, right?
it is only for testing.
Okay.
Correct. So we are writing, yeah, we are writing some set of code. So we have to make sure that is working fine, right? So then only we can give it to some other person, like third party person. So in order to call those things, correct?
Yeah.
So this is only for testing purpose. Okay. So the programmatically it is different. Okay. If you are using a Java, then the way we are calling is different. If you are using a .NET, the way we are calling is different. Okay, so if you are using a Perl or Python, the way we are calling is different. So it is up to their environment, correct? So we are not bothered, right? So our case is nothing but write a server side code, give the WSDL. Okay, so what and all platform they are having, they will install the WSDL and they will call our services.
Okay, so here we need to create two projects. Suresh, I mean, one is with enterprise
Yeah, so
and other
yeah,
with
correct.
upper class.
Yes, so why enterprise required is in order to get the session ID. Okay, so in order to get the session ID, so basically we have to go for a enterprise WSDL. Okay, in order to access our particular custom web services, so basically we have to import our WSDL.
Okay.
Okay, clear?
Yeah.
So we have to import our WSDL.
So the session ID will expire after some time, or it will keep being same?
No, it will expire actually. It will expire. So there is some timings will be there. For that time is it will expire. So during code also, who are calling via Java or .NET, right? So first they have to call a a login ID. So how we just the way we are calling is same. Okay, they have to call a login method. Okay, once they call the login method, so the return response will be login result. Okay, in the login result, session ID will be there. It has to call every time. It is not a fixed thing. How we are doing it for a REST API. So we are every time we are calling OAuth endpoint, right? So like that, it will keep on expire it up. So for that reason, so we have to keep calling the session ID.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, understood.
clear, right? Okay.
Yeah, great.
So now this is a simple web service. Okay, so now we'll go and move for some complex web services. Okay, so any questions so far? Okay, so now so basically we'll go and create one more web service. Okay, so what it will show, it is having a one method called create account, so which will accept the parameter as a list of wrapper. This is a wrapper. Okay, what wrapper, till now we have created only two things, right? So it is accepting only name. Okay, now what it is accepting, so it is accepting a wrapper class as a input, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, it is accepting wrapper class as a input. Okay, and we are sending back a string as a output. We can send back a wrapper class as output also. Okay, clear? This is clear?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, web services static string create account inbound wrapper is equal to some wrapper we are sending it up. Okay, so what we are sending it back, so we are sending it back some number, assume it is a some number. Okay, how to use this particular web services? Okay, same thing. So generated WSDL. Okay, go and import to a SOAP UI tool. Okay, so something it will becomes like this. This is clear, right? How to create a project? No, is it clear now? Okay, so whenever you got the concept, right, how to create a project in SOAP UI, right? Go new. Okay, new SOAP UI, browse your WSDL and create the project name.
Okay.
Correct. So in that case, so it is go and create something like this.
Okay.
Okay, it will go and create something like the same thing. Go there. So it is a method called create account, right? Our method is actually basically create account, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, our method is actually create account. Okay, so click on request. For this request, what we are going to give? Okay, so we are going to give a two parameter. Here also same thing. There is something called session header will be there and session SOAP body will be there. Correct. So what we are passing parameter as a list, account list, right? So if you see here, there is something called account list here. Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so there's something called account list here. So we can add a parameter like account 1 temp add account to temp. Okay, and now I am passing two parameters, and owner you can give some owner name. Okay, it's not a mandatory. Clear? This is clear?
Yes.
Okay, so if you see here, create account is a method name, correct? Account list is nothing but a parameter name. See here, account list is a parameter
It should
name.
be same name.
It should be same name. It will, whenever you import it, right, it will come as a same name. Or else how it will go and map to this particular parameter? It won't, right?
Yeah.
That's why it should be a same parameter. Okay, so now, so we have to pass a session ID. So we'll go and see what is the session ID. Okay, clear? Okay, so now what I will do, go and send a request here. Okay, it is saying some timeout. Okay, so okay, see here, so it has created, right?
Yeah.
Can you able to see the result? So result, it has been created. Okay, so if you go and search this particular thing, so these particular accounts are created in a Salesforce. Okay, if you search here, see Act 1 and Act 2. See, Act 1 and Act 2 are created. Okay, clear? Any question?
Initially it was showing like the real time also. In that case, what we can do?
No, sometimes what it will happen, so it is giving a timeout. Okay, so timeout means it depends on our network or the availability of the Salesforce. Okay, so that time sometimes it will some rare scenario it is giving a read timeout. Okay, so what it is happening, so whenever you are writing a code, whenever it is timeout is happening, so in the catch block we are right, try and catch, correct? So timeout it will go to a catch block, right? So in the catch block again we can make a request and we can try it up another time. Okay, so even though in that time also again timeout happens, then you have to look into our code. Is there any bug in our code? Okay. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is nothing but how to access a complex SOAP web services by using SOAP UI. Okay, so here you can send any number of data. Okay, either it is a wrapper class or it is a simple classes, correct? Why I have used wrapper is nothing but instead of I have to send a multiple record, right? Like it is accepting list of record. In that case, we can't send as a parameters, primitive data type, correct? For that reason, basically we are going for a wrapper. Clear, right?
Yeah, clear.
Okay, fine. Okay, so this is basically what, so we are exposing SOAP web services, right? So we are writing some business logic in the server side and somebody else is calling it from the client side, correct? We are giving some data back to a caller, correct? Okay, so now there will be, this is basically what's outbound, this is basically inbound call out. Somebody is calling into a Salesforce, correct? So this is basically inbound call out. How to work for a same thing for a outbound in case of SOAP web services. Okay,
Okay.
Okay, so what we have to do, so I will go and log in into some other credential. Okay, so some other instance I will log in. Okay, so as of now we know we have downloaded the what you called, and that particular WSDL, right? If you go to classes, and if you go to Apex class,
So students, in SOAP there is no point of endpoint URL. I mean remote site settings and all, nothing required.
no endpoint, it will be there inside of this particular WSDL. Okay, so now it will be there inside of this particular WSDL. If you see the what you call,
Enterprise project, right?
yeah, so what it will happen, so we are inserting a WSDL, right? I will show you WSDL, hold on, so you will get a clear picture. Okay, so this is, I will create a WSDL for this guy. Okay, so what it will happen, let me save this. Okay, so if you see at the end of the thing, so here see address will be there. This is nothing but a location. You got it?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so location will be here actually. So that will be inside the WSDL. So whenever you load it into SOAP UI, so it will be available inside this particular thing. Okay, as a part of coding, right? So we can explicitly set this. By default also we can take this address. Okay, or else if you want to set some particular address also, we can go and set it off via code.
Okay.
Set address.
So let's say we are connecting to SAP from Salesforce. In that case, we need to set that endpoint. Is it?
See, this in that case, so SAP has to give the WSDL. We can't use our WSDL, right?
Yeah.
Okay, SAP people they will write some custom logic, and they are giving the WSDL to our Salesforce team.
Yeah.
Okay, in that WSDL the location will be available.
Okay. So finally, there is no need of remote site settings for say SOAP, right?
Remote side.
Settings which we are using for REST API, remote site setting, endpoint URL, setting and all, consumer key security.
That is not required. That's why I told you. So it will work purely basis on a SOAP protocol. Okay, so REST we are for each call we are accessing by using a URI based. Here we are accessing based on the method name. Correct.
Okay.
See, location will be there in the WSDL. Only one location will be there in the WSDL, which is pointed to that particular class.
Okay. It's clear.
Okay. So whenever this should be added in the remote site setting. Okay, remote site setting, this instance. So now it is a Salesforce, right? In order to call some Google, SOAP app service or SAP app service, you have to add this particular URL in the remote site setting. Okay, we know, right? Blacklisting the IP address.
Yeah.
Okay, clear?
Yeah, clear.
Okay, so now what we are talking is, now we are discussing about how to call the third party SOAP app service from the Salesforce.
Okay.
Okay, clear? How to call the third party Salesforce, SOAP app services from the Salesforce. Like now Salesforce is a caller, assume somebody else is a service. Okay, clear? You got a clear idea?
Yeah.
Okay, so now go to how to do that. For doing that, now it is nothing but outbound call out for a SOAP web services.
Yeah.
Okay, outbound call out for a SOAP web services. Okay, now what we have to do, go and generate from the WSDL. There is a something button called generate from the WSDL. Okay, okay, so from this particular thing, so browse that particular WSDL, so which you have saved earlier. Okay, so it should be is there something account, this one. Okay, open it up. Okay, so pass WSDL. So we have to pass the WSDL. Okay, if the WSDL is it is a proper thing, if there is no error, then basically we can create a classes. Okay, if there is any error, then basically we have to solve those things and we have to import it again. Okay. Okay, so this is basically, we will call it as we are creating a some skeleton or some stub classes in order to call that particular web services. Okay, clear? So in order to call any kind of SOAP web service, basically we have to write some additional code in the client side. Okay, these additional codes, so it will be generated whenever we are parsing that particular WSDL. This automatically it will generate whenever we are parsing the particular WSDL. Okay, now what it will happen, so I will give some name for class name, so it will go and create some necessary classes in this particular parent class. Okay, generate a Apex code.
So there is no need of enterprise visual parsing code.
No, not required. Enterprise WSDL is not required. Okay, so let's say it is saying name is too long. I can remove some name. Length is too long. Click on that. See, enterprise not required. Why? Because now we are calling from the Salesforce to others.
They will give the session ID, right?
Correct. So they will give their own mechanism, like what we need to pass it as a part of session ID. May they will give some other method in order to get the session ID, or for them session ID is not required. Okay, session ID and auth token only for the Salesforce thing. Salesforce people implemented session ID and auth token. Okay, for other things it may be different. We don't know, right? It may be different.
Okay. So if you want to get session ID scenario, then they will give other visual file, login methods.
Correct. Other visual file they will give in order to get the things. Okay. So now if you go and see here, okay, so if you see here, this is the class which has been generated of. Okay, so this will be the class which has been generated. Okay. See here, what I am doing now, currently we don't have any third party application, right? Correct. So what I will do is nothing but, this is some other org. Okay, this other org is a caller, that one more org, this org is nothing but a server. Okay, what I am trying to do is nothing but I am calling this particular web service from some other Salesforce org in order to test the functionality. Okay, you got it right? Any confusion?
No.
No. Because we don't have any other SOAP web service running in the live, right? So for that, so basically I am using that another Salesforce in order to execute this particular functionality. Okay, these are nothing but, this is a main class, these are nothing but a subclasses which is creating from the WSDL. Okay, if you see here, this is our inbound wrapper, right? See here, wrapper has been created. Correct, because we have to pass a wrapper, right? Now we are calling via the code. In order to call a code, we have to create necessary client side classes, right? So this is how it is creating all the classes. Okay, all the classes. Okay, so it will create all these classes. Okay, so now we have to call this particular method by using these particular client side classes. Okay, how to call this server side method? So we have to use some we have to create an object of that particular class, right? And we have to click on that particular send method, correct? Okay, so same thing we are using here. Okay, in order to call those particular methods, so we have to create something called, okay, this is a method name. So there is some method class called service class. This is another service class. Okay, we have to create an object of this particular method. Okay, object of this particular class method. Okay, see here is equal to new. This is basically what we are saying is nothing but it is a stub class. We are creating an object of the stub class.
Okay. So so this account creation is another class, right? In the class of soap class.
Correct. Okay, so what it will do in case of Java and all, whenever you pass the WSDL, it is creating the all the classes in a one folder. Okay, in case of Java, in one folder it will create. In case of Salesforce, so it will create a one parent class, this one, and inside that it will create all the child classes. Okay, this is nothing but a child class. Basically, we will call it as a stub class. Okay, so now we have to set the endpoint here. We can use the default endpoint also, or in order to use some specific endpoint, we can set it something like this. MS endpoint is equal to this one, where this variable will be there. This variable will be there within this particular class. Okay, if you go here, somewhere you can able to see here called endpoint. See here, yeah, endpoint. Okay, if you are not using endpoint, by default endpoint it will take it up, correct? So if you want to use, because sometimes you have to call different environment, right? Test, development or integration or so on. In that case, so this method will help in order to set your specific endpoints. Correct? So now what we have to do is nothing but same thing. We have to set the session ID. Okay, because who are calling the Salesforce, so basically we have to set the session ID, right? Correct?
We are hard coding the session ID here.
For time being, I am hard coding it up. So for that, basically what we have to do, we have to call the enterprise WSDL, and we have to call the login method. From the login method, we have to get the session ID. For time being, I am hard.
We need to pass again enterprise DL.
Sorry, come again.
In that case, we need to pass again enterprise DL. This is hard.
Yeah. So this is for this is basically I am for giving the example. I am using Salesforce to Salesforce.
Yeah, I understood.
If we are using some other technology like Java and all, we have to import both enterprise WSDL as well as our custom web service WSDL. Okay, from the enterprise WSDL, we have to call the session ID method in order to get the session ID. Is that clear?
Yeah, it is clear.
Okay, so now for time being, I am just hard coding this particular session ID. Okay, clear?
Yeah.
Any question?
No, sir, it is fine.
Okay, so now what we have to do, so now we have to pass this particular object, right? So that method accepts this particular parameter, right? Correct? Create this particular wrapper. Okay, so set all the methods, set all the parameters like account name and owner. Okay, and put it to this particular list and add this particular list here. Okay, clear? If you see here, so where is this particular application? So this will be available. This is a class, right? Wrapper class. Okay, create the object of wrapper class. Here we are creating the object of wrapper class. What our actual method is accepting, it's a list of wrapper class, right? Correct? So create the wrapper class list here. Okay. Is that clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, now then call this particular service method. What is that service method? So service method which will be there within this particular thing. Okay, so this is particular thing, right? So if you see here, so there is basically here you can able to see the service method here. This is a proxy method. Okay, we have to call this particular proxy method. This method it will actually call the server side method. Okay, clear? Pass the account ID. So it will return back the particular result to you.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes.
Clear, right? Any confusion or something?
No confusion. Just I'm little confused with the stub class creation. Like this is known account wrapper and the below one is the list of inbound account wrappers, right?
Correct.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And you also need to okay, it is there.
See, idea is simple. Okay, in order to call this method, what and all parameter we need to send? Correct. We need to send a list of inbound account wrapper.
Yeah.
Correct. So what I am doing is nothing but I am creating a inbound wrapper object. One object I am creating it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and later I am creating a list of the wrapper and adding into list. Okay. What method I have to call? I have to call a create account method, right? Okay, how to call that? Create account method, pass the account list here. How to call that? Which object I have to use? I have to use the stub object. Okay, what is the stub object? So stub object is nothing but this one, right? ms. Okay, I am using ms dot create account because we can't directly call this method, right? This class, right? Because this class will be located somewhere else. Okay, for that reason, so we are calling some proxy method which is there in this particular class. Okay, we are calling the proxy method. This is a proxy method. This proxy method will internally call the actual method based on this particular URL. You got it, right? So based on this particular URL, it will call the actual method. That's it. Okay. In case of other calling, so the session ID, setting the session ID is not really required. Okay. Setting session ID is required. For giving the example, because we are calling the Salesforce to Salesforce, right? I don't have any other SOAP web service running up. So I am using the same Salesforce to connect each other. Okay. Clear? Any question? Okay. This is very simple. Okay, compared to REST, right? SOAP is also very simple. Nothing. So just once you got a WSDL, right? You input the WSDL and check for all the like object, what and all object you have to pass it up. Create an object name, add all the necessary data, call that method. That's it.
Okay. So is there any precautions we need to take while visual generation and visual passing?
No, precaution is nothing actually. Make sure visual is a proper visual. Okay.
Expose it. I mean, if we just download it, it will be by default properly it will be trained. No need of any modifications.
Correct. See, visual is completely depends on this particular class. Okay. In case of this class is proper, then visual will be proper. Okay. If this class is running fine, then visual will be proper. If there is some issue in this particular class, then the visual there will be some error in that particular visual.
Okay. So without SOAP and all, we can do any testing of that class, no, right? That global web service class.
Global, this particular class, right?
Yeah. From developer console we can't run, right?
No, you can run because this is a manual method, right? We can run, but we can't run as a web service. We can check the functionality whether it is creating an account or not by calling this method. Okay. But if you want to call it remotely by using this particular WSDL and all, basically you have to go for a SOAP UI, or else you have to write some set of codes like Java or .NET or some Perl code. You have to write it up in order to.
Okay.
Create things. Okay, is that clear?
Yes.
Any question?
No.